Hey friends, welcome back to Wild Hearts Homestead. Today we're going to be talking about lamb sharing and weaning your lambs when it's time. How do you know when it's time? What are the signs to look for? And how to do it. So let's get started. Our very first lambs were born here on the farm April 25th of this year. We welcomed two little girls, Assam and Ashlyn. The first 2 weeks, our lambs have exclusive access to mom. They get to be with mom 24 hours a day. I'll go in and check and see if there's any excess milk that needs to be taken out, but otherwise the lambs get all the milk that's there. I have found the milk in the first 2 weeks can have a little bit of a stronger taste to it, so I usually use that for making yogurt or something else. Margot welcomed her two lambs on May 19th, a boy and a girl, Sebastian and Marigold. Lambs grow really fast. Look at the size difference between these two sets of lambs. It might seem really early to start night weaning at 2 weeks of age, but trust me, it's okay. We started by putting the older lambs in a separate pen at night. They're together so they're not alone, and then they get their food. They learn the routine really fast, and before you know it, they'll be going to their pen for their feed. Getting the lambs to get into the routine of going to their own stall at night wasn't too hard for me to do. It was, in the beginning, I had to physically pick them up and put them in the stall so they would know where to go. But after they got the routine of it, it wasn't too bad. Now, when your lambs are little, they do have something called creep feed that you can do, where you can have an area where your lambs can have access to food all day, but their moms can't fit into that stall. So there's a spot I can take out of my stall where I have a little section where lambs can fit through and come back out, but the moms can't, so that the babies can have access to kind of graze on food all day long at their own liking. Once they hit 2 weeks though, we start doing our night weaning. I'll start giving our lambs a little bit of grain at night to get them to get into the routine of going to their own stall. To do this, I just put some grain into a bucket. Get the mom's foods ready. Then all I have to do is open the stall door. The baby comes in, the moms stay out, and I can milk and feed. Everybody knows where their assigned spot is when it's feeding time. Our ewes get feed at night and in the morning because they're giving us milk and they're also feeding their babies. Depending on the breed of sheep you have, the amount of milk you get will vary. Margot was giving me a half gallon every day. Peak milk performance is usually around 2 months after birth. One of the signs that these lambs were ready to start night weaning was that they were coming and stealing their mom's grain. That shows me that they're ready to start having some grain of their own and to have the night weaning process started. When all the lambs were here, they would all go together in this stall at night so they wouldn't be alone and they wouldn't feel upset being away from their mothers. Now, why are we doing lamb sharing? By lamb sharing, we are not having to bottle feed our babies, but we're still getting milk for ourselves too. When we separate the lambs at night, we can come out in the morning, we can get milk, and then the lambs get access to their moms all day long. They come out and they can nurse. It encourages the moms to make more milk that way, because then they're feeding their lambs and they're giving us milk. And then we're not having to worry about bottle feeding lambs. Now, another benefit of doing lamb sharing is that I could take a day off. If I didn't want to milk on a certain day of the week because it's a very busy day and we have to get out really early in the morning, I can just say, I'm not going to separate the lambs on Thursday night. So Friday morning, all I have to do is feed my moms, and then the babies milk the moms for me. I don't have to go milk. This is a nice thing too in our situation, where if we have an emergency that comes up, then I can just leave the babies with the moms and I don't have to worry about not being back in time to milk, so that I don't have to worry about mastitis. Now, another benefit of lamb sharing is if you are new to milking, putting the lambs back in with the moms will help give you the peace of mind that you know that they are getting the milk taken out efficiently, and that you're not going to have to worry about mastitis if you're worried about not getting all of the milk out because you're new to milking. At around 3.5 months to 4 months of age, I started to separate them completely. So they had their own enclosure over here to get them fully weaned, but they were right next to their moms so they could still see them. There wasn't any kind of trauma from them being taken away very suddenly. They were able to be weaned before they were sent off to their new homes. Moms are right next door. They can still bump noses with them, and they can still hear each other. They're right next door, and it helps them to stay calm during the weaning process. We didn't have anybody escape or get out. They did a fantastic job. And then their moms are right over here. Good morning to you. Weaning has been going well. They haven't broken through. They can still see mom right next door. Hi, ladies. Been doing a great job. I think the moms are thankful for the break too. Marigold was separated for about a month while she was with the other lambs. Once the other lambs all got picked up, Marigold came back out to be with the flock and to be back with her mom. I haven't seen her try to nurse, and it seems like 1 month of separation has been sufficient to get her completely weaned. And because they were kept in close quarters, they were able to integrate back seamlessly. We didn't have any issues with them fighting each other or headbutting or anything like that, because they were kept side by side the whole time. They didn't have any kind of separation from each other. My ladies get fed half and half mix of sweet feed and alfalfa when they're in milk, and they get just a little bit of grain when they're not in milk to keep them in the routine. So you might be wondering how I knew it was time to start weaning the lambs completely. One of my first signs is just their age. So ram lambs can cover females starting at around 4 months. So when my older two girls started to be around 4 months, I started to watch them a little bit closely to see if we're getting to that point. My second clue was when my lambs were reuniting with their moms in the morning, they weren't immediately running over and wanting to nurse. They were instead coming out of their pen in the morning and running immediately to their mom's food bowls looking for grain. So that was another sign that they were ready to be weaned. My third sign was they're getting really big. They're almost the same size as their moms. And so when they are nursing them, they are really rough. They're basically, like, you know how when lambs come, they kind of like bump up onto the udders? Well, they were like lifting their moms off the ground, and their moms were starting to have some wear and tear from that. So that was my third sign that it was time to go ahead and get our lambs weaned. To wean my lambs, I simply set up another electric fence and used that as part of the fence for my ewes. So that way the babies can still see mom, they're still close by, they are not all of a sudden just taken away. And the transition has gone really well. I haven't had any lambs escape or try to break out, and everybody is really calm about it, and it's gone really well. Now, you would expect when you are fully weaning your lambs that the milk production will drop with your ewes, at least a little bit. So my first day of weaning, I got a whole gallon of milk from my 2 ewes. But as it's gone, about a week and a half now, it's kind of dropped a little bit. Miss Margot is still giving me a ton. Sugar has dropped a little bit more. So we're getting about 1.5 quarts in the morning and 1.5 quarts at night. And the amount of milk you get from your sheep will slowly decrease as they go through their lactation cycle. The most milk you'll get is probably around 2 months old. Most sheep stay in milk for about 10 months, and then you would want to dry them up about a month before they have their new lambs. Thank you for watching. I wish you the best of luck on your journey with your new lambs. It truly is an exciting experience. I'll see you next time.